Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Y Media Group, established in 2001, is a media company with a 360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Midweek Newspaper, the biggest free English newspaper in Canada. From Parliament Hill to Queen's Park, the Y Media Studios.
How did your meeting go with the Prime Minister of India?
I've sat down and had many conversations with Prime Minister Modi.
Leader of the official opposition.
Great to be with you, Mr. Jaswal. Thanks for having me. You probably have more viewers in GTA than they have in all of Canada.
I think we found pretty strong support.
Next election, we're going to win 5 ridings.
Y Media at Liberal Convention in Ottawa. Y Media at Conservative Convention in Quebec City.
It's great to be with you on Y Media.
Y Media at Canada First Rally in Ottawa. Y Media conducts many political one-on-one exclusive interviews. Y Media is the official media partner with the Toronto International Film Festival.
You are watching TIFF on Y Media, the official partners.
Y Media Group is here at Ground Zero at the 2025 Chicago Water Show.
Welcome to Y Media. We are at the Port of Vancouver.
But you stay tuned with Y Media.
Channel Y के entertainment for stay tuned with Y Media special reports.
Reporting from Chandigarh, Channel Y.
Y Media helps with connecting with the communities, creating brand awareness, and increases sales. Y Media works with 100 plus international brands. Y Media has also worked with 1,000 plus Canadian big and small brands. Y Media Group, the fastest growing media group in North America.
HKC Construction presents Y Media Political Sensex. Y Media Federal Election Debates. Who will be the next Prime Minister of Canada? Tough questions. Affordability and housing. Crime and tariffs. Immigration. Tax and innovation. Infrastructure and more. Watch and listen on all Y Media platforms. Stay tuned. Vote for the country.
Y Media Group, the fastest growing media group in North America.
Hello everyone, my name is Yudhir Jaswal. I'm the group editor at Y Media, and we all know we are having federal elections on April the 28th. And I know you're all set, we must have discussed many issues, and to discuss more about that, we are going to have debates. Brampton Board of Trade and Y Media are organizing these debates for you, and I have my co-host With me, sir, a very warm welcome on Y Media.
Thank you, Yudhvir, and thank you to the Y Media team for collaborating with us to make some space for the Brampton business community to ask some hard-hitting questions to those who are vying to represent us. I, on a personal level, am very excited to be having this conversation about Brampton Centre today, mainly because I live in the riding, but I also was born and raised in the riding. So, my vote is up for grabs today. With that, I'd like to welcome two candidates. We have Amandeep Sodhi representing the Liberal Party of Canada for Brampton Centre, and we have Tariff representing the Conservative Party of Canada for Brampton Centre. We did send an invite to all candidates who are running in this riding, and in particular, we want to thank both Ms. Sodhi and Mr. Chahal for being so generous with their time. We also have a panel of community members, Kate Saldana and Angela Carter, who will be posing questions to the candidates as well. This will be a traditional debate format, and so we'll be having opening statements from each candidate, and then we'll get into some substantive questions. So with that, by order of last name, I'll ask Mr. Chahal to make his 2-minute remarks.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Brampton Board of Trade and Y Media, for hosting this. My name is Tariff. I'm your Conservative Party candidate for Brampton Centre. I've grown up in Brampton. I've lived here my entire life. I went to elementary school here. I went to Turner Fenton High School and did my BCom from University of Toronto, and then I went to do my CPA, after which I did my MBA from Schulich School of Business. So I've lived here and I know the riding pretty well. On top of that, I've worked in the public and private sector for the last 15 years, mostly in finance. So we need in Brampton somebody that has clear leadership proven capabilities and serious representation. The reason I'm running for the riding is I cannot stand back and watch my city and my country deteriorate. Over the last 10 years, we have seen, under the Liberal Party, crime at an all-time high. We have seen unaffordability at record levels. We have seen unaffordability in terms of young families trying to buy a house, or groceries are not what they used to be. And additionally, we have seen rising costs for when it comes to everyday products as well that we've taken for granted. We've also seen seniors being ignored over the last number of years, and we have seen issues that have come from immigration as well. So to represent my city and to represent my riding, I'm here to represent you, and I'm running to fix the issues that we've seen over the last 10 years. And I have the proven leadership and experience in the riding that can bring that change.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. And Ms. Sodhi, your opening remarks. And I just want to say, I have a bell here that I'll be ringing when you have about 10 seconds left.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Hello to everyone watching. I'm Amandeep Sodhi, your Liberal candidate in Brampton Centre. I want to thank the Brampton Board of Trade for organizing this debate and Y Media for partnering to host us in their studio. I also want to thank the other candidates contesting in Brampton Centre as well. And I must say it's a welcoming change for once to see the Conservative candidate show up. Brampton Centre, this is my home. It's where I was born and raised and where I still live till this day. This is my backyard, my community, and the place where I will continue to proudly call home. I am running because I have a passion to give back to my community that raised me. Unlike the Conservatives, who constantly impose their voice and opinions on us, I will fight and bring change to Brampton Centre. Outside of slogans and catchy phrases, Pierre has offered nothing to you. No ideas, no policies, and no platform. Imagine if Pierre was in a room negotiating with Trump. Pierre would lose, and as a result, Canada would lose. We have too much to risk, and we cannot trust Pierre. The Liberal Party of Canada has a plan, and we have a leader who will meet the challenges of the day. Our party has weathered the storm through the hardest of times, and under Mark Carney, we will do that again through Trump's tariff threats. There is currently no Canadian better suited or more fit than Mark Carney to protect, stabilize, and grow our economy. He has understood our economy through good times and through the toughest times. Canada needs a leader who will stand up to Trump and his tariffs to defend our country and diversify the economy. I hear how worried Bramptonians are about their jobs, the economy, and the cost of living. And I hear that the only person they trust to protect them is Mark Carney. Brampton Centre deserves a member of Parliament and leadership in Ottawa that will support them. Mark Carney and I have real plans and real policies, which I look forward to sharing in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you to both candidates for sticking in the allotted time so well. We will be moving on to some themed questions. I will say Brampton Centre, in this election, the boundaries have changed. You are both first-time candidates as well. And so with that context, I'd like to pass it over to Yudhvir Jaiswal for his first question.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And before I ask the question, just for the viewers' benefit, I'd like to tell you that this Y Media and Brampton Board of Trade's debates will be broadcasted on Channel Y and Y+. So there are two channels who are going to broadcast this. You can watch us on Rogers 857, Bell 828, and if you're in Alberta or British Columbia, you can watch us on TELUS 2418 and also on Ignite 707. All these debates will be available on all the platforms of Brampton Board of Trade as well. And few highlights will also be discussed on Midweek newspaper. Midweek newspaper is a free English newspaper. You can pick it up anywhere in GTA. I'm personally very excited to see two young candidates from Brampton Centre. I wish you both all the best. And my question will be for you, Taran, and of course you can also jump in later on. To both of you, my question would be that why have you joined politics? Because many times I've been covering elections for a good 25 years now. So sometimes I see candidates just show up. I'm not talking about you. Candidates just show up during the election time, and if they win, they stick around. If they lose, I don't see them after that. And I'm very excited that two young candidates who have put up their names for two major parties. So I want to know why, and I also want to understand your vision for Canada. That what do you want to do for the community? Two-part question. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for the question, and thank you for calling me young. I'm not that young. I'm 34 years old now. A little bit about myself to answer that question in context. I'm 34. I've had about 15 years experience, as I mentioned, in public and private sector. I'm recently married. I've been married for about 3 years. My wife is a dentist, and we're trying to start a family in Brampton. So why have I joined politics is the number one reason, as I mentioned in my opening statement, is I cannot stand back and be on the sidelines. I've seen the last 10 years our local issues being ignored. Crime was a topic in 2019. Housing was a topic in 2019. During that election, and still we're having the same discussions on high crime and high housing. The reason I joined is because I know the generation that came before me, my parents, they're aging, and the issues they face, the issues my generation faces. I have a lot of friends that are in their mid-30s that are, not getting married because they can't afford a family. 10 seconds. So my vision is to build a stronger Canada, to put Canada first, where people my generation can afford a home and have that Canadian dream of having a prosperous Canada. Thank you.
Yep. So my why is simple. I want to, like I said in my opening statement, I want to give back to the community that raised me. I finished my undergrad at Western University. I have a background in political science. So I want to use the education that I've completed, and I now want to give back to my community. And my vision for this country is to have affordability, no struggle, affordable housing, and also to combat crime. It's a serious issue that we've been hearing at the doors. So those are the three things that, if elected, I will be focusing on.
Thank you. Moving on to our panel, I'd like to invite first Angela Carter to pose a community question.
Thank you for this, and thank you so much for wanting to step out and represent us. So we will thank you, and good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to talk about tariffs. We talk about Trump, and when we talk about Trump, we think about tariffs. So tariffs could have a significant impact on the 42% of field workers employed in sectors directly impacted by trade. Mm-hmm. While there has been talk about support for businesses and EI recipients, there has been little discussion about bolstering necessary social infrastructure to ensure its resilience in times ahead. Will you support tariff relief plans that include funding for local nonprofit organizations that deliver community services in Peel?
And which candidate are you directing that to?
I direct it first to Amandi.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. So yes, short answer, yes, we will support them. Our Mark Carney government also has a plan to fight the U.S. tariffs with retaliatory tariffs. So we want maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact in Canada. The main thing is that we have to negotiate and find common ground with Donald Trump and the Trump administration. We also need to, in terms of preparing ourselves and our economy, our country, we need to seek other relationships with other countries for trading and not just rely on the U.S. for trade and commerce. The biggest thing is the federal government, we continue to support any and all businesses through economic hardship. One of the big things that we're doing right now, especially for small businesses, is the BDC. We're providing $500 million for small businesses that are directly impacted by the Trump tariffs, and that's one of the ways that we're going to continue to build Canada strong.
Thank you so much. I'll pass it over to Mr. Chahal, and I just want to say the spirit of the question, I believe, is around social supports and social infrastructure. So perhaps I can go back around to get a specific answer to that. Mr. Chahal.
Yep, it's a very important question. Thank you for asking. The Conservative government is supporting all social programs as well. What we have found out is what we're going to be making a more resilient economy. That's the way to support social programs, because you're funneling money into the economy and making people more resilient. So we're providing $3 billion in direct business that have been affected, and plus we're trying to make an economy that's more resilient in the future. Like the Trump tariffs in 2016, the Liberal government this time was not prepared at all, even though they had experience with it before. So our job and the Conservative Party's plan is to put Canada first. We're going to be putting our people first, and then building a resilient economy that in the future, if there's ever any tariffs like this from our largest trading partner, the US, or any other country, we're prepared fully. And that's the long-term fix. We don't want to put bandages on small-time fixes. We want to have a strong, resilient economy over decades to come.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. Yeah. And Ms. Sodhi, I'm happy to give you maybe 20 seconds to answer specifically around the social support angle of the question.
Yeah. So the federal government, we've continued to support in all aspects, especially around social infrastructure. Our government will continue to do that as well. Our main thing is to fight, protect, build Canada strong, and we'll do whatever is necessary.
Thank you. Kate, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming out today. Appreciate it. I'd like to turn the focus for a moment more to the individual household level for a moment. Rising food, energy, transportation costs, amongst many others, are straining household budgets. What is your party's comprehensive plan to bring down the cost of living while maintaining economic growth? And maybe we'll start with you, Mr. Chahal.
Absolutely. We have a very comprehensive plan. The first thing that's unaffordable at the moment is housing. So the Conservative government has made a pure plan on slashing GST on $1.3 million worth of homes. We've also advocated and will be providing relief to municipalities that cut development charges as well, so that's going to bring back affordability. On normal stuff like cars, we're slashing GST on all Canadian-made vehicles. That's another one. The biggest thing we're doing is cutting taxes. We're putting more dollars in our citizens' pockets. So we're slashing taxes by almost 15% for under $56,000. So, and we've been advocating for the longest time to cut the carbon tax, which the Liberals cut 2 weeks before the election and now claim they brought down the gas prices. That has led to a high cost of living crisis. And the biggest thing that's led to the biggest cost of living crisis is the enormous spending the Liberal Party has done over the last decade. And fixing the budget and cutting the deficit will reduce unaffordability in our city.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. Ms. Sodhi, do you have a response to that?
I'd like to keep it short. So my one answer to that is we don't spend, we invest. We invest in the needs of Canadians in our community. We listen to Canadians and those in our country. And the simple thing is that we invest.
Okay. And Mr. Chahal, I saw you shaking your head there.
That's false, because we're spending money, especially, for example, when we're giving relief checks, $26 billion was missing. There's no accountability on that. We're investing money in infrastructure funds that are not in Canada or in the rest of the world that has delivered zero results. So there is fiscal mismanagement at the highest level that needs to be held accountable. So when they say it's investing, it's not investing. It's money from your pockets that's going out. The federal deficit is $60 billion a year. They said the budget was going to balance themselves 10 years ago. So I disagree with that statement.
Mr. Chahal, I take that point. If I could maybe just follow up on the spirit of this question for both of you.
Yeah.
You mentioned the need for fiscal responsibility, let's call it. That being said, Prime Minister Carney is suggesting a GST tax cut for homes valued under 1 million.
Yep.
Mr. Poilievre has suggested 1.3 million.
Yes, sir.
There is also, as you mentioned, Prime Minister Carney has suggested a decrease in the lowest tax bracket, and Mr. Poilievre has suggested a larger tax cut.
Right.
This will increase the deficit, in fact. So I just want to follow up a little bit about the spirit of that question.
That's an excellent point. The reason that's some of the things that we're going to be doing to manage the budget is cutting back on wasteful spending. So where this is going to add a little bit to the deficit, where we're going to be cutting spending is where we're going to be saving money. So cutting spending on, for example, when we spent $54 million on the ArriveCan app that took 2 developers to make. There's a lot of waste in Ottawa that need to be controlled. So by cutting spending on cracking down on wasteful spending and unlocking our resources to boost revenue, it's going to make a net neutral impact.
Okay. And because I posed that question, Mr. Chahal, I want to invite Ms. Sodhi to respond as well.
Yeah. So the main thing that I want to say here is, it's something that I've already said before. I know Mr. Chahal and I we're going to disagree on certain things, but the Liberal Party, we don't spend, we invest. I want to reiterate that. We made necessary investments to protect Canadians, to protect our jobs, to preserve our economy, and I believe that the results are evident of that.
Okay. I do have some follow-ups, but I'll throw it over to Yudhvir to ask the next question.
Sure.
At this point, you said you're 34, you're still young, but I'm looking for your idea, and this time we'll start with you, Ms. Sodhi. I'm looking for your ideas how to encourage, inspire, motivate youngsters in the age group of 15 to, I would even include up till 35. So 15 to 35. When I talk to them, they say, we're facing so many challenges today, whether it's affordability and life partner, career choices, and who's their inspiration? Are we talking about any role models here? So what is your idea, if you get elected, how you will encourage, inspire, and motivate? I'm specifically talking about the age group of 15 to 35. Ms. Sodhi.
Yes. So I want to give a little bit of background here. When I was in university, I had a Women in Politics club. In that club, we inspired young women to speak on the issues that matter to them. That's one of the reasons why I got involved in politics, is because I want to make that change on a bigger scale, on a larger scale. As a young person, I want to empower other, youth of today's society up till 35 to speak on the issues that matter to them, because I feel like our youth is not educated enough. They believe that things like housing and affordability, they don't affect them now, but they're going to affect them in the future. This is going to affect you down the line when you want to have a house and start a family and settle down. One of the things that I would want to do as a young person, if elected, I would want to have a youth federal, some sort of a club or an association where our youth has a platform to speak on the issues that matter to them, and where they can voice their concerns, and where they know that their voice is heard and acknowledged.
Thank you. Mr. Chahal.
I sort of disagree with Ms. Sodhi's representation that our youth isn't educated. Our youth is very educated. They're aware of the issues that are happening in our community. I'll take my example. My campaign is being run by people under 22. These guys have organically found me. They're frustrated that they can't find jobs. I work as an operations manager. I have about 30 people reporting into me. Per one job, I get about 600 resumes, which is, we've never seen that before. This is the toughest job market I've seen over the last 15 years. So the youth is involved. They have real questions on, hey, I can't afford a house. My parents can't afford a house. When can I afford a house, right? When can I afford to get married and have kids and start a family? So the youth is going through this organic movement where they're connecting. You must have seen the polls that with the Conservatives, the age group of 18 to 35 is the most connected with the Conservative movement. And these are people that are concerned about their future. They have that long-term vision, and they see where Canada is going. And our party is delivering for them. Our party is delivering for them by training trades, and our party is delivering for them by investing in their future.
30 seconds for both of you, starting with you. Follow-up.
Yes.
I need to understand your vision. What will you do to encourage, inspire, and motivate? Yes, we've discussed the obvious,
Yes.
The challenges are there. We understand that.
Yes.
But 30 seconds, what is your vision? That this is something that I will do to encourage, motivate, and inspire that youth.
I will give my own example. Okay. Why I got involved and advocate that, hey, you need to get involved in politics now because you have to advocate for your youth. Sometimes it's not provided to you, so you have to go out and make noise on what's most important. I've been in universities, I've been to 2 universities, and I've sat on the board of Sheridan College for 3 years. So I know their struggles, and on university campuses, on college campuses, I've heard them loud and clear. And so my vision is to give my own example, that I got involved for my people and for my age group.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I want to be able to provide a platform to them. I think that's the biggest thing, is letting people know that they have a voice to speak on the issues that matter to them. Even if they might not matter most in the moment, like 15-year-old is not going to care so much about affordability, but it's going to matter down the line. So the biggest thing for me is providing a platform for those people to speak on the issues that matter to them and will affect them in the future.
Thank you to both of you, and thank you for the question. Actually, that's inspired another question for me, if I may. I'm closer to Mr. Chawla's age, but I think one of the most animating advocacy priorities for the Brampton Board of Trade in particular is around affordable housing. The Liberals and the Conservatives have distinct ideas, some overlap, but some distinct ideas around addressing the housing crisis. If I may, can I invite first Mr. Chawla and then Ms. Sodhi to speak about some of the ways to address the housing crisis in Brampton?
Of course. Our party platform is quite clear. So people that are sort of my age, we're cutting the GST, as I mentioned, on $1.3 million homes or anything under that. But our job is to provide opportunity as well. So we're training people for trade. So when you're in high school, you're graduating, you have a clear path on what sort of job you can get. So economic freedom is what we're providing them as well. And when it comes to housing, we're working with our provincial and municipal counterparts, and we're advocating for more development in housing. We need to cut development costs down. Pierre Poilievre mentioned that 1/3 of the cost in new housing is government related. So we need to reduce that. We need to provide incentives, which our party has laid out, which is going to bring down the cost of new homes.
Thank you, Mr. Chawla. And Ms. Sodhi, I don't think your party would necessarily disagree with that. Is that correct?
Yeah, but housing is also important for me as well. As a young person, I one day have a dream of owning a home and starting a family here in Brampton. Mark Carney has an ambitious plan to fight housing. It's one of the most ambitious housing plans since the Second World War. We've doubled the pace of construction, so it's going to be 500,000 newly built homes a year. And to make housing more affordable, we've also eliminated the GST on houses priced at $1 million or below. And that's one of the ways that we're going to continue to make housing and life more affordable. And I just wanted to mention as well, when Pierre Poilievre has no record to stand on. When he was a housing minister for Stephen Harper, they built 6 housing units, so I can't expect much more when he's Prime Minister.
Okay, so I have to let you respond to
Absolutely.
that, but I also want to say that's actually a key difference as well, that Prime Minister Carney has proposed creating a government body whose sole purpose is to build 500,000 homes a year.
Yes.
What's your response to that?
My response is the government is very inefficient. These talking points were the same talking points that our former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had back in 2017, 2019, 2021. Google, and you'll see that all the talking points were the same. We're back at the business of housing. The government should not be in the business of housing, and Mr. Carney is going with modular homes, but he has interest in companies that make modular homes, so there could be a conflict of interest. When it comes to housing costs under our leader, Pierre Poilievre, when he was in office, housing costs were not this high. Rent was an all-time low back then. So to say that we didn't build housing back then, because housing was not a huge issue. This started in 2019 and has occurred in the last couple of years. And so that's what I say to your rebuttal on that, because we've had a proven track record under the Conservative government.
Thank you for that. Ms. Sodhi, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to mention, they're not talking points, that's the conservative things. Liberals have policies. Mr. Chahal mentioned business interests in building homes. And I just want to say, when you become the Prime Minister of Canada, you have to abide by certain conflict of interest and ethic laws. And if this was true, which it's not, our ethics commissioner would have raised this issue up, and he would have already brought it to light. So,
okay. Thank you both for that. I'd like to turn it back to our panel for another question. Angela?
Okay, let's start with you, Mr. Chahal. So appreciating that much of Brampton's healthcare advocacy lies within provincial jurisdiction, voters want to know that all levels of government are addressing our acute healthcare challenges. What will your government, if elected, deliver to Bramptonians with respect to healthcare? And what would you and how would your party work with the levels of government to do that?
Absolutely, great question. It's a question that's on everybody's mind everywhere. I've been door knocking for 2 weeks, and the number one question after crime and unaffordability and rising costs is, of course, healthcare, which is a huge concern here. Since it is a provincial matter, our job is to advocate. So my job is to advocate for my Bramptonians, Brampton Centre constituents, to work with our provincial partners to deliver quality healthcare. I must remind people that with the federal transfer payments from the federal government to the provinces, we pay more in interest on our national debt than we do in our healthcare. So our job is to free money. We need to bring fiscal responsibility back and reduce those payments. We need to cut our spending when it comes to the interest payments and deliver more funds to our provinces and hold them accountable and advocate for Bramptonians.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. Ms. Sodhi.
Yep. So the federal government, like we already have, will continue to work with our provinces and territories to ensure that Canadians have access to the healthcare that they need. Just last month, Prime Minister Carney announced that we are expanding our dental care program, so it'll be ages 18 to 64. This is providing access to around 4.5 million Canadians, and it's going to result in each of those Canadians saving about $800 a year on dental care. And one of the biggest things and concerns that Prime Minister Carney also is looking forward to implementing, is that he's reaffirmed his intentions for pharmacare by ensuring that Canadians who have diabetes have access to their medication and other necessary medications as well. And with Pierre Poilievre's cuts to pharmacare, those Canadian citizens who are struggling with diabetes could be spending another up to like $1,700 a year, and that's one of the ways that the federal government, the Liberal Party, has continued to invest in healthcare.
So I want to turn it back over to Mr. Chahal, in particular because this question around dental care and pharmacare, and in particular Mr. Poilievre's support for either policy is sort of in question in our community, at least. Would you be able to clarify that?
So we're providing relief at pockets, which is through tax cuts. You might be saving $800 dental care, but an average family of two will be saving almost $1,800 under a tax cut. And under Pierre Poilievre's government, Pierre Poilievre has indicated that there will be no impact under a Conservative government that people will lose their pharmacare coverage.
Okay, all right, wonderful. Well, thank you for that. Kate, I'll invite you to ask the next question.
Thank you. So I'd like to focus on transit. Transit and our LRT in particular is a priority for the Brampton Board of Trade. As you're aware, the current federal government has made a commitment to funding the Main Street LRT alongside the province making the same commitment. It's our concern that the commitment may not be followed through after the election, given that funding will not be dispersed until 2026 and no clear dollar amounts or timelines have been provided. Will you pledge today that if elected, your party will commit to full funding and continuity of the Main Street tunneled LRT extension into downtown Brampton?
Thank you for that question, Kate. I just want for the viewers to be aware, we did circulate a pledge to all of the candidates engaging with us in these debates. In March 21st, the government at the time did announce their intentions to conditionally support a tunneled LRT project. And we're asking today if candidates are going to see that project through. So let's start with Mr. Chahal for that question.
I have your signed right here.
Excellent.
Your statement right here. I just want to say that under Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, we support streamlining infrastructure development. They have provided LRT funding now, right before the election starts. But I might remind you that any infrastructure project that the province has touched over the last number of years, there has been really deep environmental reviews that have inflated bureaucracy and it has inflated costs. So our Conservative Party has shovel-ready projects ready to go. That's our commitment, that we will be providing green light to shovel-ready projects and supporting infrastructure in Brampton, in Ontario, and all of Canada.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chahal, for signing that pledge. Ms. Sodhi.
Yep, our federal government will continue to see that vision through. If elected, like we will. This is the funding was received through the Liberal government as well, the federal government, and we have no plans of cutting that funding if elected. It's not just an election promise, it's something that needs to be done and will be done, and we'll continue to make sure that it gets done.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'll now throw it back to Yudhvir for another question.
Yeah, at this point, we've seen Brampton is a very diverse community, and we have diversity in Canada as well. But one of the questions that I've been asking to many leaders once they get elected, we have people from both sides of the fences. We've seen some violent protests regarding issues in Middle East, Europe, in South Asia as well. So what is your viewpoint that how do you bring Canadians together? Because I think this is one of the major challenges that we are going to face. And in media, when we are covering violent protest because of issues which are outside of Canada. Of course, we should be taking care of human rights, but issues outside Canada, we're seeing Canadian flag being burned over here. We're seeing violent protest. So how do we bring together the Canadians and talk about Canada? Because issues regarding healthcare, you just mentioned debt as well, infrastructure. There are so many issues that we're facing. So how do we turn back our focus on Canada? And this time, Mr. Chahal.
Absolutely, great question. This is one question that is on top of everybody's minds, and we need to focus on the common ground. What does it mean to be a Canadian, and why do we come here? I came as an immigrant, and we came here for the Canadian dream, which is that anybody from anywhere can be anything in Canada because this is a land of opportunity, right? So we need to focus on those collective values first. We need to invest in ourselves. We need to put our Canadians first. We need to be supporting our economy, our people. So those are some of the things that can bring Canadians together. And so those are some of and we need to also, focus on our diversity as well. So we have people from all around the world. We have great food, we have great cultures, but our strength is in our community. We just want a safe street to raise our kids and have a great opportunity. That's what the Conservative Party's promise is. That's our long-term vision, is that you can be from anywhere, come to Canada, be whoever you want to be, and grow and prosper.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. Ms. Sodhi.
Are you actually able to repeat the question for me, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You must have been reading the news. We've seen some violent protest in Canada. And your leader, Mark Carney, he was in Brampton, and he was mentioning this thing that the Jewish community, girls there were being targeted here. And he said synagogues, your leader just mentioned in Brampton, synagogues are being targeted, mosques are being targeted. So we are seeing violent protests, violent attacks in Canada for issues which are happening in Middle East, Europe, South Asia. So my question is, we know this is obvious. We know this is a question. Your leader said that. Your leader said that Canada first. That's one of the reasons. So we know this is obvious. This is a major issue. And I think this is going to be one of the challenging issues for Canada, because with our diversity, we're bringing people from both sides of the fences, diversity. But then how can we make sure that, yes, as much as those issues in Middle East, Asia, all those conflicts are important, but I think we have much bigger issues to handle here in Canada. Let's start focusing on Canada. How do you do that? That's my question.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that the main thing that people need during uncertain times and when they're feeling the emotions from all around the world is that we want to be able to give them that reassurance and to let them know that right now we're in a nation where we have humanity and we stand united together. To let them know and reassure them that whatever is happening around the world, it's not right. There needs to be an end to all of it, and we need to hold those that are committing these crimes accountable. And a big thing that we have here in Canada is peaceful protests. So you're able to stand up for the issues that you believe in as well. But I want to bring it back to humanity. I think it all comes down to that sense of community and letting your neighbor, letting your community members, your allies, your partners know that whatever it is, we will tackle and we will fight together.
You wanted to add something to that?
Yes. Sorry, I missed the second part of your question. Is that like Ms. Sodi mentioned, you have the right to protest. That's a fundamental right, but violence will not be tolerated, and we need to be careful of that. So, no, that's our pledge as well, because it's a freedom to protest. We're going to be focusing on those issues, but violence cannot be tolerated here, because we need Canadians to feel safe.
Yeah, no, peaceful protests are an integral part of any democratic setup. That's given. That's clear. Yeah. But I wanted to ask you that yes, we are still having violent protests for issues outside of Canada, and we have so much at stake here. From south of border, Europe, there are many challenges. China is still hostile to us, and you're talking about affordability, housing. All these issues are Canadian issues. We have all these issues. Of course, we can talk about other issues, but my question was, how do we bring back the focus to Canadian issues?
Yeah. Thank you to both of you. I'd like to invite Angela to ask another question.
Definitely, thank you. And I direct it to Amanda. Amandeep, sorry.
Yeah, no,
so
okay.
What specific relief will your party offer to lower and middle income families struggling with day-to-day expenses in Brampton? How will you help those individuals find employment and find the ability to cope with the day-to-day challenges they face?
So thank you for your question. For low to middle class income families in Brampton, yes. Federally, so we have that whole the dental care program. So that's going to help Canadians as well with saving $800 a year, up to $800. That includes those living in Brampton. And then one of the things that we also have is our $10 a day childcare. That's helping families right here in Brampton. I've spoken to actually 3 people last week lived in some apartment buildings in our riding here who benefit from the dental care program and from the $10 childcare stuff as well. So yeah, I think those 2 things are really helping those in Brampton Centre right now as well, and that's one of the ways that we're going to continue to work for not just our country but for our city here in Brampton.
Thank you, Ms. Odi.
Unaffordability is the second topic every time I door knock. So how we're going to be providing relief is straight, number 1, through tax cuts. So we're providing a 15% tax cut under $56,000 for our seniors. We're giving up to $33,000 of tax-free income as well. We're letting seniors, who are a big part of our community, let their RSPs grow from 71 to 73 in age. So they have, because they've been impacted by the tariffs and the downturn in the market, so we give them a couple more years to build that back. And on top of that, the main thing we're going to be providing is jobs. We need to unleash Canadian resources and generate generational economic boom. And we're doing that through unleashing our resources. We're also providing $350,000 grants for our trades. We're also cutting down GST on houses and Canadian-made cars. We need to get our GDP going. The GDP over the last 10 years has grown 0.5%, not 0.5% a year, 0.5% over 10 years, while the US has grown about 20%, I believe. So we need to have a long-term fix. And we also need to reduce bureaucracy because the federal government has grown almost, I believe, 47% in their budget and their jobs. We need to cut that. We need to cut, the $1,000 an hour consultants and bring fiscal responsibility back and deliver all these results to Brampton Centre constituents.
Thanks so much. Ms. Sodi, would you like to respond?
Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Chawal mentioned something about seniors. I just want to touch a little bit on that topic. The Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, they want you to believe that they care about seniors, but they don't. He always opposed the Canada Pension Plan enhancement that our party defended, that the Liberal Party defended. He called it tax hikes. And since we're on the topic about seniors, I believe it was last week, the Liberal Party increased the guaranteed income supplement by 5% for 1 year, which is providing Canadians up to $652 more dollars for low-income seniors, and it's tax-free.
Thanks to both of you for that. An item that hasn't been discussed yet that I think is essential, particularly if we're talking about the Brampton community, is immigration. Yep. And in particular, the economic vitality of our community relies on immigrants, newcomers, and in particular, international students. Yep. And the work that we do at the Brampton Board of Trade, we talk to businesses on a daily basis, and we understand that not only has there been detrimental effects of some of the recent IRCC decisions on obviously the post-secondary sector, but our local employers themselves rely on the labor provided by newcomers. So I want to direct this question first to Ms. Sodhi. I understand that you've not been part of the Liberal caucus, yes, but should you be elected on April 28th, what is your view on the way that the Liberal Party in particular can perhaps pivot and improve some of its decision-making on the immigration file?
Okay, I think that's a great question. I think immigration it's foundational to Canada's fabric and our proud history. And personally, I come from a family of proud immigrants myself. Like you said, immigration is vital to our economy. It's needed. It's necessary to keep our country going. If elected, Mark Carney and I will work together to put immigration caps in place so that we don't strain our system. Obviously, like we said, immigration is important, but we want to make sure that we have the resources needed to cater to immigrants coming into the country as well, which is something the caps will help with. And our plan for immigration will essentially be smart, it will be agile, and it will be well planned.
If I could ask a follow-up, do you think that the Liberal Party under the leadership of Justin Trudeau, did they bungle the immigration file?
I definitely understand where you're coming from. I think Trudeau was overambitious with his immigration policies. However, I think under a new leader, I like to say new year, new beginnings. It was a fresh start for our party this year. So under a new leader, we're going to place those immigration caps in place so that we can cater to immigrants coming into the country as needed.
Thank you, Ms. Sodhi. Mr. Chahal.
This is a very false statement, right? Fresh year, fresh start. Forget the last 10 years. That's the whole Liberal agenda. Forget all the mistakes we've made. Give us another chance again. They've abused the system over the last number of years. A lot of students have come through the immigration system, and they are now abused as well because they have to take loans and come back here. And the government also lost track of like 1 million immigrants. Sean Fraser was famous for, causing this immigration crisis and then causing the housing crisis. So forgive me if I don't believe the Liberals on their immigration targets, because in 2015 and under the previous Conservative government, we had clear targets that would have given us a fair, sustainable immigration program that worked well. I'm a proud son of my parent. I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 9 years old and has done well for myself. But we need to provide a fair and reasonable system. We need to bring some sort of accountability back to the system where it's fair for Canada, it's fair for immigrants,
Thank you, Mr.
and immigrants aren't abused in the system.
Thank you so much.
Sorry to interrupt. In just 10 seconds, because I'm very intrigued always. In case, for both of you, you want to put a number to the immigration, 500,000, 250,000, or freeze, or 1 million immigrants every year. What do you suggest? Do you want to put a number? Anybody? Go ahead. If not, that's okay. You want to put a number?
Ms. Sodhi, we'll start with you, maybe?
Yeah. I think the number needs to be valued with the needs of the economy. So I don't have a number that I just want to spit out there. So I think it needs to be valued with the needs of our country at that time.
Exactly. We can't put a number out there because it depends on our economy. It depends on our needs as well, and it also depends by sector. Which sector, which age group our immigrants are coming. So we have different targets for different arenas.
And just to follow up on that for a moment, you mentioned that it depends on the needs of the economy. What are the needs of the economy?
It depends, right? So what are we looking for? People to come here and work at the healthcare system? Are we looking for more tradesmen because housing prices are out of control? It depends on the application by application process.
Mm-hmm. And Ms. Sodhi,
my answer would be the same as Mr. Charles. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kate. Another question from you.
Sure, yeah, I'd like to bring up the topic of safety. We've heard this come up a couple of times from our candidates so far. So what I'd like to know is that acknowledging that the perceptions of safety have changed in recent years and seem to be on a decline within the community. What will your party do alongside other levels of government to address public safety, both in upstream prevention as well as enforcement? We'll start with Ms. Sodhi.
Okay, perfect. So just last week here in Brampton, Mark Carney announced his 5-point plan to fight crime, protect Canadians, and build safer communities. This includes increasing gun control, recruiting 1,000 RCMP officers, training 1,000 new CBSA officers, investing in our justice system, creating policies to protect families, children, and our communities, and last but not least, investing in our first responders. Crime is a very, very big thing that we've been hearing at the doors, but I've actually seen the shift in the last week that I've been door knocking after the announcement. People are appreciating and feeling reassured that there's a party out there that is putting policy into action, into place, and is going to help our communities rather than fight the crime, rather than cheap slogans and just talking points. There's no policy.
Okay. Mr. Chahal.
So a couple points on that. My Conservative government has laid out really good policy plans. It's just not talk. And again, I must say, over the last 10 years, this same question was asked in 2019, in the 2019 federal election, and we're having the same question asked about 7 years later. Why is that the case? I've been door knocking, and the number one issue is crime. Car theft is up 112%. Violent crime is up 87% in a very safe community. Why is that happening? The Liberal government has taken no responsibility, and the previous members have not listened at all. When it comes to policy, we have solid policy points. Pierre Poilievre 2 weeks ago announced harsh penalties, 3-strike policy where repeat offenders will be locked up in jail with 10 years and no parole. We're repealing C-75 bill because that's the bill that the Liberal government has passed that made it easy, where violent offenders and violent gang-related activities, people involved in that can be on house arrest, which is a joke. We have also initiated policies for intimate partner crime. We got the PRP endorsement. The police themselves have endorsed. Where under the Liberal government, the police was saying, leave your keys at the front door and nobody's going to mess with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal.
We're also hiring 2,000 CBA officers. And one more point, gun control doesn't work because law-abiding citizens are not doing the crime. People that are committing the crime are not buying guns.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. I appreciate that. Thank you for those answers. We're nearing the end. We're about to wrap up, but I just want to ask, is Canada broken from your perspective? And let's start with Mr. Chahal.
Canada is not broken. We need to fix it, though. We need to bring people together. People over the last 10 years under the Liberal government, the Liberal government is very good at dividing people, whether it be on race, religion, ethnicity, doesn't matter. We need to bring people together with a focus in mind that anybody from anywhere can be prosperous and happy and be anything here. That's our promise to the Canadian people, is that you will be put first under our government.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. And Ms. Sodhi.
Why would we fix Canada if it's not broken? Canada is not broken. There's always stuff that we can do to better our country, but it's not, you can't fix something that's not broken. You can't say it's not broken, but then in the same sentence say it needs to be fixed. So Canada is not broken. Is there work to do? Yes. Is the Liberal government going to do that? Yes.
Okay. Thanks to both of you, and I'll give the last question to Yudhvir.
Yeah, I think one of the important issues that we are facing in today's society, I know you spoke about tariffs as well, but high-paying jobs. Many of the youngsters that I talked to, and when I came to Canada about 25 years ago, I came in as an engineer, so most of my friends, my colleagues, my college mates, batchmates, they moved to US. They said, we have better high-paying jobs there. So how can we create high-paying jobs here? Can we make Canada a technology hub? There's so much investment flowing in US. We are right besides US. We haven't taken, as you mentioned, Canada. We agree Canada is not broken, but yes, there are so many things that we can do. So now I want to ask both of you, I think you're in the same age group where careers are made. I know both of you are looking for a political career at this moment. But my question is that how can we create better careers here in Canada? And we'll start with you, Mr. Chahal.
Absolutely. This is a question that hits home. I'm 34 years old. A lot of my friends that graduated from university from Waterloo or Toronto or in the GTA area, they have gone to the U.S. Half of my friends are in the U.S. because they have better paying jobs, like you mentioned, right? So that's a huge concern because we have a large brain drain happening in this country. My wife's a dentist, and sometimes when she graduated a couple of years ago, she's like, why can't we move to the U.S.? I'm like, nope, this is our home, this is our country, this is where we stay. But for doctors, I have a few doctors friends, and the average doctor's clinic is open for about 5 years in Ontario because after that, it's too hard for them. They say they have no support from the governments, and they're much better off either going to the U.S. or going into another industry. We need to be providing opportunities like the U.S. back in Canada. So first we have the reinvestment tax, where Pierre Poilievre has announced that there's no tax on capital gains, where the Liberal government was raising the inclusion rate to 67%. There's going to be none if it's reinvested in Canada. So we need investment to come into Canada. We need to bring those jobs back, and that's the way to do it, is to, one, invest in not agendas, but invest in technology, invest in think tanks. And at the same time, we need to provide and get money flowing into Canada. We need to bring investments and make Canada the investment hub of the world. And so that, under the Conservative government, that's our long-term plan.
Sudi?
Sorry, yes. My answer is similar to Mr. Charles. As a fresh university graduate, I also struggled to find jobs, but I think the main thing that we need to do is invest in our employment industry in all aspects and sectors of our industry. I think that's how we're going to help create better jobs for Canadians and not have our Canadians leave our nation and go to the States. So investment is huge.
You know, I'm glad, Mr. Chahal, you mentioned the reinvestment tax.
Yep.
I think that's an interesting proposal.
Yep.
I'm curious, Ms. Sodhi, I know Prime Minister Carney announced that there will be no changes to the previously announced capital gains policy from the previous leader. What is your assessment of this policy? Is this something that a Mark Carney government might consider?
Well, the Mark Carney government is very, very open-minded, so it might in the future be something that it could possibly consider. But as of right now, we're going to stay with the stance that we have in this moment. And like I said, my personal beliefs is that it just needs to be more investment into that industry.
Mr. Charles, would you like to respond?
We haven't seen anything from the Liberal government over the last 10 years. In fact, they've burdened, from every business I've talked to, I've knocked on so many doors and so many small businesses, they feel they're burdened by the taxes. You know, the inclusion rate was going up, payroll tax went up as well, and then income tax went up. They are on the brink of bankruptcy. Talk to any truck driver out there. Under the carbon tax, when it was in place, and they've only paused it at the moment and not fully taken it out yet, but they were losing $1,000 per month just in carbon pricing when they're making about $10,000. So a lot of small businesses are struggling, are on the brink of bankruptcy. And under the Conservative Party, our promise is to support those small businesses and bring those jobs and have those jobs stay in Canada. And with investment over the next number of years, we'll be bringing high-paying jobs as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chahal. And Ms. Sodhi, forgive me, but I noticed you made a bit of a face when he mentioned carbon pricing. Would you like to speak a little bit about that?
I think the Conservative Party has a little bit of a misconception about the carbon tax. It hasn't been paused, it's been eliminated. So it's not something that's coming back. It's not an election promise. There's no pause to it. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Sure.
Parliament hasn't resumed and the bill hasn't been passed to cancel it.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you to both of you for answering our questions. I think it was very insightful to everyone listening. At this time, I mean, we mentioned the pledge, so I'm appreciative that both of you have signed this pledge. I would like to offer you closing remarks, 1-minute closing remarks, and because we started with Mr. Chahal, I'll invite Ms. Sodhi to speak.
Sure, thank you. So I'm incredibly proud to be running in the riding and city where I was born and raised in. Brampton Centre wants someone who understands them, who lives where they live, sees what they see, and experiences what they experience. I bring a fresh voice and new ideas forward. The choice in this election is clear. Elect a former governor of the bank for 2 G7 countries, or elect a 20-year career politician sitting on a $3.4 million pension, who doesn't know you, he doesn't care about you, and he could never ever walk even a single step in your shoes. Our party needs your support, and I need your support. Amandeep Sodhi and Mark Carney will protect you, our families, and our economy, our jobs, and our beautiful country. There is one name that is constantly mentioned when they share with me who they plan to vote for when I go door knocking, and that is Mark Carney and our Liberal Party. A vote for Amandeep Sodhi is a vote for Mark Carney and a vote for Canada. Brampton Centre wants someone in Parliament who will truly echo their voices and stand up for them when needed, and I am ready to be that representative.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chahal.
Brampton is my home. I've lived here all my life. I worked at the city as well. I have proven track record over the last 15 years in public and private sectors. So I have a lot of work experience. I have a lot of lived experience. That's what Brampton needs, is somebody with experience leading this. So when you're speaking up in the House of Commons, you know how hard it is to get groceries. You know how hard it is to find a house. I still live with my parents because it's hard finding a house under the Liberal government. So you need clear representation, and that's me, Tariff from Brampton Centre, and the Pierre Poilievre government. The choice is very clear this year. Do you want the same things that have been happening for the last 10 years and 4 more years of that, 4 more years of high crime, high taxes, and outrageous spending? Or do you want somebody that has a proven track record of fixing the budget, bringing down costs, and fixing crime? The choice is very clear. I also want to thank Y Media and Brampton Board of Trade, my colleague, not colleague, I guess, Liberal opponent, Amandeep Sodhi, Angela, Kate, you as well. Thank you for having us. Please vote Tariff Chahal on April 28th.
Thank you so much. Thank you to both candidates for sharing your time and your insights. And I just want to remind everybody, April 28th is E-Day. Advanced polls do open this Easter long weekend, and make sure you vote. I'd like to pass it over to Yudhvir for some closing remarks.
Yeah, I think I liked when you said my colleague. You know why? Because, actually I would appreciate that. Yeah. Because I think that is something missing that we see these days, because at the end of the day, we could be belong to different,
we're both, working to represent our community. We just disagree on policy. Mm-hmm. Other than that, there's nothing else. We're just representing our community and trying to do our best.
Yeah, we could be from different parties, different ideas, different opinions, different policies. But of course, we're all colleagues at the end of the day. We all want to work for the community. So I like when you said colleague, that's okay. That's entirely okay. But I wish you both all the best, and thank you so much to the panel members once again. Really enjoyed the discussion. Sir, thank you so much for being the co-host, and I really enjoyed. Thank you so much to Brampton Board of Trade, and thank you to all our viewers for your time. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. That's all the time that we have. Stay tuned with Y Media. Thank you.
Y Media Group, the fastest growing media group in North America.